So Judah, he's one of the 12 sons of Jacob, right? A big deal in the biblical world. Judah has 3 sons, and the eldest, marries Tamar. But not a great guy. The Bible says he was wicked in the Lord's sight, so the Lord put him to death. Just like that. Boom, he's gone. Now, according to the custom back then, if a man died without children, his brother was supposed to marry the widow and have children on his behalf. This way, the deceased man's name and lineage would continue. Enter Onan, Judah's second son. He marries Tamar, but there's a catch. Onan knows that any child he has with Tamar won't be considered his, but his brother's. So he practices what the Bible euphemistically calls spilling his seed on the ground to avoid getting Tamar pregnant. The Lord isn't happy with Onan's deceit either, and just like Onan is struck down too. At this point, Tamar is twice widowed and still childless. Judah, seeing both his sons die after marrying Tamar, starts to get worried. He has one more son, Shelah, but he's too young to marry. So Judah tells Tamar to go back to her father's house and wait until Shelah grows up. But here's the thing. Judah has no intention of giving Shelah to Tamar. He's scared something bad will happen to his last son too. Time passes, and Judah's wife dies. After mourning, Judah goes up to Timnah to shear his sheep. Tamar hears about this and decides it's time to take matters into her own hands. She takes off her widow's clothes, covers herself with a veil, and positions herself at the entrance to Enaim, which is on the road to Timnah. Judah sees her and, not recognizing her because of the veil, thinks she's a prostitute. He propositions her, and she asks what he'll give her in return. Judah promises a young goat from his flock. But Tamar, being clever, asks for a pledge until she receives the goat. She wants something personal, his seal, cord, and staff. These are significant items, kind of like asking for someone's ID today. Judah agrees. They sleep together, and Tamar conceives. Judah goes back home, sends the goat with a friend to retrieve his items from the prostitute, but she's nowhere to be found. The people of the area say there hasn't been any prostitute there. Judah decides to drop the matter to avoid public embarrassment. Fast forward 3 months, and Judah gets news that Tamar is pregnant. Furious, he orders her to be burned for her perceived immorality. But as she's being brought out, Tamar sends a message to Judah. I am pregnant by the man who owns these. She then presents his seal, cord, and staff. Judah is stunned. He realizes he's been caught in his own deception. He admits, she is more righteous than I, since I wouldn't give her to my son Shelah. Tamar's cunning and bravery not only save her life, but also ensure her place in Judah's lineage. She later gives birth to twins, Perez and Zerah. Perez goes on to become an ancestor of King David, and ultimately, Jesus Christ. This story of Tamar and Judah is a wild ride of deceit, justice, and redemption. It shows that sometimes taking matters into your own hands is the only way to ensure justice and secure your future. Tamar's bold actions, though controversial, secured her place in history and changed the course of a lineage that shaped the world.
This story is horrible in so many ways, but one of the primary ways that this story is horrible is the true aspect of what it's saying about women. And I would implore Christian women, stop naming your daughters Tamar. Because once you understand the true thing that they're saying about Tamar, you might want to stop. I understand you're in love with Jesus. And because you're in love with Jesus, and through Tamar having Perez, and you get the line of David, and then you get the line all the way up to Jesus, you want to look upon Tamar as some wondrous, brave woman who took matters into her own hand to secure her husband, to secure what was rightfully hers. Because what this story is telling you, in truth, is that a woman's value is only that to which she's able to produce a son, produce a child. You see, she didn't produce a child with Matter of fact, she had that deadly poom that killed could have had a brain aneurysm. There's no telling what medical reasons could have died. Onan, which the term onanism, which means to pull out and on the floor, pull your ping out, and you know that he had good pull-out game. She had no children with him, so her value still continues to decrease. Her value decreased even more so when she was sent back home to her father's house and awaiting for Shelah to be old enough for her to marry and for hopefully him to be able to produce children with her. You see, this story is first telling you that the only value that Tamar has is that of a vessel to produce children. That's it. She has no other value. And once she's sent home, she is literally worthless, can be forgotten about. Now, oftentimes pastors will focus on the fact that Judah had sex with her and then didn't uphold his promise and then found her to be more righteous, and he was going to burn her after he found out that she was pregnant and that she was more righteous, and that the line of Jesus came through Tamar. And they offer her praise and offer her, a special spot. And in this video, they try to say she was brave. She took matters into her own hands. Independent woman getting shit done. No, much like Judah's daddy and Judah himself, she was a trickster. She entrapped Judah purposely to ensure that she gains her value of being able to produce a son, because that's all you're worth, according to this Bible. So what did she do? They left out the part that she positioned herself as a prostitute, not along the road, but in front of one of the temples of a foreign god. And she made herself to be a pyramid priestess. Now, if you don't understand this, what that means, the significance of this, in those days, oftentimes when a woman was a priestess of a temple, she was also providing sexual favors for the priest, as well as some of the men who came to the temple. It was church prostitution. It was Diddy. She got Diddy. She was Diddied. Okay. So she positioned herself as that. And after Judah slept with her, because Judah's wife has passed away, so he is paying for some poom poom. And side note, I did get fussed at once when I was about 16 years old, because I expressed that according to this story, since Judah was not vilified for sleeping with Tamar, he was vilified for not keeping his promise. Then basically what you're saying is that if you sleep with a prostitute who's not part of your tribe, not part of your religion, that's okay. That's perfectly fine, because Judah is a man of God, a man of Yahweh, a man of Jehovah. I got fussed at a little bit about that one. They didn't like that in the church house. But anyway, so she dressed up as a temple prostitute. And then when Judah was returning back and he asked the men, like, where's the temple priestess, the temple prostitute who's supposed to be here? The men didn't know. It wasn't that Judah felt like, oh, I don't want to further embarrass myself. It was normal. It was a normal cultural thing for men to offer goats and stuff to a temple priestess, to a temple prostitute. So it was not an embarrassment. Well, not even slightly. He felt like, oh shit, I got away with some free poom poom. I got that poom poom for the free 99, the 5-finger discount. Yes, indeed. Yes, I did, is what he was saying. But then when Tamar ended up being pregnant, all of a sudden, even though he wasn't keeping his promise, he was embarrassed. You see, it was his embarrassment that his daughter-in-law was thought to have been sleeping around with some other men while she's waited all these years for his son to get up. The embarrassment that she has brought to him because she couldn't keep her legs closed, when he is able to go and open his legs as much as he wants. But because she did that, it is the control over a woman's poom poom, or control over a woman's ability to have babies, control over the bloodline. That's the only value that women have. And Tamar entrapped him. Kind of like, you know how sometimes we hear these stories about a woman entrapping a man for his money? She entrapped him for her value to be reinstated as a woman who can produce children. Stop naming your kids Tamar. She was a horrible woman. Judah was a horrible man. The Bible is filled with horrible stories, and I don't want to hear anything about, but God uses and redeems these people. No. It's just a fucked up book. That's all it is.